11th grade parents will be joining us after that. So, I don't want to miss slide. Yeah, that's in the agenda. So, introductions. My name is Peter Boulette. I'm the Director of Guidance, and for your juniors, I have alphabets L through Z.
I'm Charles Gentili. I'm the other guidance counselor in the guidance suite, and I have students with the last names between A through K.
So, some things we'll be going over today are factors in how to consider what you're going to consider in colleges, SAT versus the ACT, PSAT Khan Academy, which is an awesome tool that I wish I only had when I was this age 2, 3, 4 years ago. Spectrum of schools, application types, what should I be doing now, and a little word about financial aid that will be coming up in the spring. So we'll just get started right real heavy. So here are some factors in when you're considering colleges, what to look for. The primary thing that colleges are looking for in your students is the academic rigor in academic courses. They're taking courses that are difficult and to the highest rigor they can take. Also, they're looking for growth. So if you start in your freshman year in a CP level course, they're looking for you to, by the time your senior year comes, get your feet wet in a more challenging course. They don't necessarily want you to get that A, even though it's great, but they want you to at least see the growth of rigor and not stay at a straight flat line, or even senior year, do this. I know I'm going to graduate, I've got a good GPA, now I'm going to fly my way through senior year and not take any rigorous courses. That's not going to help your student get into college. So they're looking for academic rigor. Of course, things haven't changed. They're looking for a quality GPA in performance in academic classes. They're looking for standardized test scores, SAT or ACT. I met with some of your students today. I've been meeting with them last week. There are colleges that have become, and it's become more and more colleges are hopping on board of becoming SAT optional schools, which means they don't require an SAT. They don't, if you send it in, they'll use it, they'll look at it, but they aren't requiring you to send it in. As I told some of your students today, they may not ask for it. However, they're smart. They can get that, they can deduct that information on their own. How would they do that? They can look at your son or daughter's GPA and from Blackstone Millville, and they have all the data going back to years, and they can look at the same student from BMR who graduated the past 2 or 3 years with a similar GPA and look at what that average SAT score is, and they can just plug that into your son or daughter and kind of make a guesstimate. Doesn't mean they all do it, but they have that ability to do it, and they may be doing that as well. So in SAT optional school, you don't have to send your SAT scores in, it's optional, but just understand that they may or may not be making a judgment on you based upon data, all right? Additional factors, extracurricular activities, whether it's sports, band, music, jobs, community service. They're looking for something other than a student who comes to school, takes difficult classes, and then goes home and studies. They want more well-roundedness in their students. The essay is important in this process. Typically 2 essays you have to write to get to colleges, and we'll be working with your students on that.
And, and your English teachers work with students well. Some teachers will actually have it part of their curriculum where they write that essay, and if not, the teachers also, they welcome you to come see them, submit a rough draft, work with the students on that, so they're really helpful as well.
This has become easier and easier for your students to do with the use of Google as a platform. They can share their essay with a teacher and have that feedback go back and forth so quickly, it's ridiculous. And it's really great to be able to do that. In addition, I love to write. I really enjoy it. So they can share it with me and I can give them some feedback as well. And I'm pretty honest with my feedback, because the reality is that I'm not here to hit your son or daughter's head. I'm here to be honest with them about what I'm reading. I've read hundreds and I know what they're looking for, so I'll be honest with them if I think they're off track or off point with that. And they want demonstrated interest. How do you demonstrate interest in a school? You can do so by applying early action, early decision, which we will get to what that means. You can do so by visiting the college, writing a follow-up thank you note, calling the school, just calling the school and asking what the status of your application is. All that is logged. So the more you demonstrate your interest in the school, they make mental notes of that. So that is a tool as well. I'm sorry. Letters of recommendation as well from the counselor and the teachers. SAT and ACT. Actually, let me just touch really quick on letters of recommendation, and I said this again to students today. They're going to hear a lot of the same thing. You're applying to a college. I gave you an A. Do not come. You can come to me to get a recommendation letter, but I already gave you the A. So obviously, I'm going to say something good about you. It's kind of a wasted opportunity for you to sell yourself. So let's say you got a C in a class. Let's say I gave you a C, but you came in for extra help frequently. You showed that you cared. You were on time to every class. You were never absent from school. You showed effort. You did the best you could, and you got a C. That C became stronger if I'm writing a recommendation letter, and you just added to the value of how you're trying to market yourself to the school. So the moral of the story is, don't run away from what you consider to be a poor grade or a grade you're not happy with. If indeed you did put forth that effort, that's a teacher you may want to go to for a recommendation letter. Does that make sense? Because again, you're trying to market yourself, and you only are given so many opportunities to do it. Standardized testing. So there's an SAT and there's an ACT. What's the difference between the two? Here's some highlights of the difference. The SAT has reading, writing, and language, math, with an optional essay. The ACT has English, math, reading, science, reasoning, essay, optional. There's 5 reading passages on the SAT, where there's only 4 on an ACT. The time is a little bit different. It's a 3-hour long without essay test. The SAT, 2 hours and 55 minutes for the ACT. You can see it with the essay. For math, the SAT covers arithmetic, algebra 1 and 2, geometry, trigonometry, and some data analysis. The ACT does the same. It does not have data analysis on it. You can use your calculator on all parts of the math ACT. You can only on certain parts of the math SAT. And the scoring, the way they score the test is different. They use a base 10 number system for the ACT, 1 through 36, and a base 100, 400 through 1600 scale for the SAT. Why would my son or daughter take one test over the other? We use the SAT here at BMR. Most Massachusetts schools do. It's a College Board owned test. Most East Coast schools do as well. I've had students take SATs and then go take an ACT and do better on an ACT, and some have done worse. So what I tell students to do is take an SAT your junior year, and we'll see that on the next slide. Take it again your senior year, and then let's talk about it. How do you feel about that score? They do marry the scores, so if you had a great score in English in the spring this year, and then you did worse in the English in the fall, they'll keep that spring score, and if you did better in the fall in the math than you did in the spring, they'll marry those two to come up with a combined score, all right? And then there are tables. There's one on our website, there are plenty online that will tell you that score X on an SAT equals score X on an ACT. So if you're not happy with the SAT score, well, go take the ACT. You'll get a score there. And then let's sit down and see which test you did better on. If it shows that your ACT score was a 30, and that on the SAT says that's a 26, well, we're going to use your ACT score, not your SAT score. So we can play the game of which test you did better. You don't have to take an ACT. It's just another testing option that some students they just do better on, because whether there's a science component to it, whether there's no data analysis to it, whether it's a 5-minute shorter test, some students do better on the ACT. Khan Academy. So some of your students, not a lot of juniors, took the PSAT this year. If they took the PSAT, they can log into the College Board account and it directly links to Khan Academy. And what it does is it pulls your scores from your PSAT to Khan Academy, and it creates a real-life SAT practice test for you based upon your test on the PSAT. It's a great way to study for the SAT because it's taking what your weaknesses are from the PSAT and helping you to strengthen those skills. If you didn't take the PSAT, you can log on to Khan Academy, create an account, and then there's they call it a quiz, but there's an inventory of questions, a test that you take to at least have a standard base for you, for then Khan Academy to create an SAT practice test for you based on that, okay? All of your students took the PSAT in 10th grade. So they can still log into that account, they can still get their PSATs for 10th grade. They probably can still create a Khan Academy account from there. I just can't promise you that your student has grown in academic knowledge since 10th grade, that the test that you're taking as a practice test would be the best use of your time, if that makes sense. Because they're now sitting in their junior year. And up here, I'm sure you've read it, but it just tells you what they have, their videos explaining their problems that they got wrong to teach them on the Khan Academy site as well.
And in the newsletter that went out in March, you'll also have the direct link to the College Board, which includes Khan Academy as well as printout tests, so you can check out other ways to practice there as well.
The SAT subject test. These are hour-long tests. You can take up to 3 in one sitting. Don't have to take 3. You can take 1 in one sitting. You can take 2 in one sitting. You can take 3 in one sitting. You can register for 3, get there and decide, I'm tired. I'm only going to take 2, or I'm only going to take 1. You can do that. You have that possibility. Students are responsible to find out what colleges require a subject test. There are some schools that do require it, like BU requires 2 subject tests, and depending on what your major is, they will tell you what subject test they want you to take, all right? It's for more selective colleges. And then the Koplik Scholarship. So the Koplik Scholarship has been a scholarship that has kind of gone away for many years in Massachusetts. It was around, I want to say 8 or 9 years ago. It was funded by the legislature years ago. It became unfunded, but it's back. So if a student scores advanced on any MCAS test, they should then sit for a subject test, because the requirements for the Koplik Scholarship is that you have to also submit a subject test on the College Board. So that's kind of why I really threw that up there, because that information wasn't given to us a year ago at this time, that the Koplik Scholarship would be funded, and therefore the seniors, I wasn't able to give them this information, but it's now funded. So if you got in advance, it's in your best interest to at least sit and take 1 subject test, so that at least you can be eligible to get that scholarship. It's worth it. You know, if the test is $45 and you get $3,000 from it, it's worth it. If it's not, well, you know, you lost $45, but still it was an experience. You want to talk about special needs schools?
I always encourage students to look for what I call a spectrum of schools. Some of the terminology which some of you are familiar with, a reach school, a match, or I call it a comfy school, and a safety school. Safety school, a school I feel comfortable that I'm getting in if I apply to. One thing we try to always impress is that doesn't necessarily, we feel like sometimes there's a negative connotation with a safety school. That doesn't have to be the case. You can very much like your safety school. So we encourage everyone to find a safety school they like. They feel comfortable if they apply, they're getting in. We also encourage students to apply to reach schools. I will never tell a student not to apply to a school. I will share with them the data of the SAT scores that they're looking for, the GPA that they're looking for, as well as the percentage of students that get in, because that all factors into admission process. And it's important for students to know, do I spend $125 on this application if they're looking for a 4.0 GPA and a perfect SAT score and I'm not quite there? But it's good to know, but maybe it's their favorite school, and I joke around. I think a good benign example is if they're looking for redheads that year, I may be getting in. So, reach schools, a safety school, and the schools you kind of match with. Oftentimes, yes, the rigor of classes you're looking for is so important, but the GPA and the SAT scores are a really, really important part of this process. If you are meeting there, or you're above there, I kind of say that's within your safety reach school, depending on how big that factor is. Also considering the percentage of students that they do accept. If they're looking for a 3.0 GPA and 1350 SAT, and you're right there, that's perfect, or maybe a little bit above, but they only accept 10% of students, just kind of know that going in. Still apply, absolutely, please, please, please apply. But it's good to know when you're factoring that in. But it's really important that students have a safety school, they're comfortable schools that they match with, as well as reach schools. So just making sure that they kind of have that spectrum is really, really important. And that's one thing when we meet with them more on an individualized basis is we go ahead and kind of touch base. Okay, you know what, that's really great. All those schools seem really comfortable and you have some reaches, but what about a reach school? Or, oh, you have some comfortable schools and reach schools, but what are you looking at for safety? So when we meet with them one-on-one, we do factor that in, but that's just one way we do touch base with them as well.
If you look at the reach, how Princeton Review defines it, I ended the quote there because the next sentence was, if you have a 2.0 and you apply to Harvard, that's not a reach, that's a dream. It's funny, but I didn't want to like put it up there. And the kids, I'm sorry, I'm going to tell the story again, but I will tell the story as long as I'm a guidance counselor. And it's more towards the parents. So I told the kids today, don't go shopping for a school based on a price tag, okay? I know it's the easy thing to do because I'm a parent too, and I'm paying my bills as well. But you never know what can happen. I had a student 2 years into my career at Revere High School, her name was Laura, who said to me, my dream was to go to Boston College. I've always wanted to go to Boston College. I'm like, but I don't see it on your list, you're not applying. And she said, well, I can't afford $45,000, $50,000 to go to Boston College. My mom's a single mom, and she's a manager at a laundromat, and I just can't afford it. So she had Salem State on her list and other schools. So I said to her, well, how do you know you can't afford it? Because you haven't applied yet, you haven't gone through the process. She said, well, it's just expensive. So I said, do me a favor, it's your dream, apply, because you never know what's gonna happen. So end of the school year, her letters are coming in. She got into Salem State, a state school, very affordable. She got some financial aid, and at the end of the day, she had to pay $3,000 a year to go to Salem State, which is affordable, which is great. A week later, she comes into me with a letter from Boston College that not only was she accepted, but she was given a free ride. She had to pay $0.00. This is a girl who wasn't even going to apply, and she ended up going to BC and graduating. So I say to you, and I say to kids, do not close the door on an opportunity or a dream. Let them close it on you. Because if at the end of the day you get into BC, but you can't afford it, and your family can't afford it, you can go to Salem State and you can gloat. I got into BC, you know? So I know it's hard to not shop for the price tag, but let them shut the door on you rather than you shut the door on them, all right? I'm going.
Yeah, so there's 3 different types of applications that students can apply to. Regular decision, early action, and early decision. I really want to focus on the early action and the early decision. Early action and early decision are when you apply, go figure, early. You also find out if you get accepted or denied or waitlisted early. The difference between the two is early decision. You can only apply to one school, that one school, your dream school. And if you are accepted, early decision, that is, you are bound to that school, financial aid-wise, going to it, etc. You cannot back out. That is one thing. So if a student comes up to me, hey, Ms. Gentili, I really, really want to apply here, early decision. I'll say, are you sure you want to apply early action? No, Ms. Gentili, it has been my dream since kindergarten. Great, let me call your parents.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And we will call you. It's important because that you are even bound financially. Oh great, they're giving you no money? Oh no, you don't want that. That's important to know. It does show your seriousness of applying to a school, which is fantastic, but there's a big decision because it's binding. Early action, you apply early, you can apply to as many schools as you like, you can hear back from them early as well. This is kind of nice. It's kind of like speed dating, I guess. You go in, you apply to all of them, see what you kind of get back early. Oftentimes, you'll hear of the decision right around Christmas time. So that's good for a lot of students. That stress is taken off their shoulders by then. You'll see some of the decisions are November 1st, November 15th for that early action, early decision. I always recommend students apply by Thanksgiving time. Get it off your plate. You guys are gonna be seniors. You guys are gonna get this thing called senioritis. Get it off your plate. Do not worry about it. With that being said, regular decision deadlines, you're going to February or March for your regular decision. So those are the 3 types of decisions, and students, some will apply. I'm gonna apply to 2 schools early action and 3 schools regular decision. I wanna break up those application fees, whatever it may be. So just so you guys know, that early decision is the binding one, and early action, not binding.
If you do not get in early action, your application automatically will get rolled over to the regular decision pool. You're not denied.
Yeah.
They just have denied you early acceptance. They automatically don't have to do anything. They automatically just put you to the regular decision. And there's another one up there that's not up there that's called rolling. That's basically you can apply up until, if school starts tomorrow, you can apply yesterday. All right? And if you have what it takes to get into the program, they'll accept you as long as there's seats in that program left to accept you in. So what should I be doing right now, March through June? We'll select your courses rigorously, and we'll be doing that in the next few weeks. If you're a student athlete and you plan on participating in your sport at the Division I or II level, you must go to the NCAA clearinghouse to do so. You should be doing that now. Division III athletes don't have to do that. And as I told the students today, that is so that when you, and I used football as an example, when you get on that field and you play for BC, you know that the other team that you're playing against has gone through the exact same clearinghouse that you have to be on that field. They all have a GPA, they all have the right courses, so that there's no unfairness going on and it levels the playing field for everybody. The deadline to register for the SAT is April 7th for the May test. You can do that on collegeboard.com.
Can I interject here?
Please do.
What SAT should I take? Either or, May or June. One thing I do want to say, some students, AP students, lots of AP testing in May. Be cognizant of that if you don't want to maybe pull all your hair out. Or, if some of you have proms at certain times, if you're doing someone outside of BMR, I know BMR's is in April, but if you have a prom, say in May, it's on a Friday night and you don't want to wake up early for an SAT, just to kind of keep those things in mind as you're looking down the road, or family weddings or anything like
There's
that.
a June test as well.
Yeah, there's a June test. So.
And I also told you students today and last week, if you're taking AP Bio right now, it's really smart to just go take the SAT subject test in biology. It's there. Rather than waiting until October when it's not so there. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're a native speaker of Spanish, take the test. If you're taking AP Chem or AP US, go take that subject test right now. It's there, There is a college fair in Boston on May 7th, which is a Sunday, and May 8th, which is a Monday. And there's one in Providence on May 8th. If you want to go to that as a family on May 7th, you may. If you want your son or daughter to go on May 8th on a Monday, they can come to guidance and get an excused college visit form that they complete, you sign, and then bring it to us for us to sign. Yes?
I thought Monday was at night.
I didn't hear you said.
I thought it was at night, but it was on night.
Traditionally, it's been during the day as well. They may have moved it tonight. Now that I think about it, there was a memo. They may do it because it's AP, the same day as an AP test, and they recognize that. But I'll follow up on that for you. Yeah. And then the Providence one is closer. Maybe I think the Boston one has like 450 schools at it. The Providence one may have 300 schools at it. You have to register online to do so. What you do is you go in and you put your information in as the student, and then when you do that, it'll print out a barcode so that those of you that remember filling out cards at college fairs, they don't do that anymore. They have it all online, so when your son or daughter is visiting a booth, they can scan their barcode and they automatically get all the information. It's that simple. College visit days excused. As juniors, your sons and daughters get 2 excuse days this semester to visit a college. And we suggest you take advantage of it because they don't carry over to senior year. You'll get some senior year, but you can't bring the unused ones with you, all right? So get on a college campus. As I told again today, April vacation is a great time to visit a college campus. And I told them, I promised them with my son's arm that they're gonna blend in. No one's gonna know they're a high school student. They're only 2 years apart. People aren't gonna know they're a high school kid. Go there, blend in, feel what it feels like. It's really not that intrusive. And going in the summertime is great too, but you're gonna see a campus that's not as full. It's gonna be empty. And you're gonna be seeing a campus with hardly any people on it. So that's not gonna give you a true feel of the campus, whereas you go and blend yourself in during the school year.
And this is huge. I can't say this. I worked at Becker College on the Worcester campus, and Becker College is well known for video game design. I was a resident director. The Worcester campus, primarily boys, video game designs, stay in their rooms, play video games, drink Code Red Mountain Dew. I kid you not. And I wouldn't go there. I'm much more social. I'm bubbly. I walked in, I was like, "Hi, I'm Charles. I'm your RD." And they were like, okay, no, then take them pep down. But that is the nicest community that they have built for themselves, and kids will walk on and they will say, "I'm home." And that's what we want your students to feel. They walk on that campus with the students there and say, "I'm home." So taking advantage of that. Also for the college fairs, I just want to, when they go out, a lot of times students will go on their own. They're driving now, they go with groups, making sure that they have their specific plans, what they're going to do with that, what your expectations are of them. Are you gonna go walk in, see one school and leave and grab lunch? Conversation to have at home. Are you gonna stay and actually utilize that college fair? I love to call it one-stop shopping. Okay, I wanna visit XYZ 1, 2, 3 school, and I'm gonna talk about listing, have a column for GPA, column for SAT, column for other, and as I walk by I say, "Oh, what GPA and SAT are you looking for? Do you need a subject test?" Have it all write down, a nice little graph, and that will match with is it a safety school, a reach school, or a comfy school. So that's kind of nice for one-stop shopping to go around to colleges you're interested in. Also, if your students are looking at specific programs, nursing, engineering, a bit more rigorous, ask them about the specific program. Worcester State, 3.0 GPA, 1000 SAT, old SAT, but their nursing program, a 3.8 right off the bat. So make sure your students are familiar, if they're looking at different programs, some of the more rigorous ones, to be aware of that it may be different than their general admission, so that Boston Providence College fairs can be a really valuable use of time for your students going in.
And I just want to reiterate, please, explain to your students what your expectations are of them if they choose to go to the Boston College Fair and use a day. You know, they're going into an urban city, and it may be the first time they do it on their own. So please have that conversation what your expectations are of them if they choose to go to Boston, okay? We spoke about the teacher recommendations. Don't run away from necessarily a bad grade or a grade that you perceive to be a bad grade. Look at summer opportunities, possible summer opportunities, whether that's academic, whether that's furthering interests, or whether that's a job. Do something. Do something this summer that is going to help add to your application to school. I'll be sending out to the students in the next week or so some summer opportunities that I've received in the mail from various colleges. Most of them come with a fee, but I'll send them out. We'll go into Naviance. Mr. Chili has I want to highlight this. On April 27th, and you'll get emails, you'll get a phone call, from 6 to 8 p.m. we're having a financial aid night here with MIFA. Best use of your time, okay? We usually do this in the fall instead, However, a parent said this would be good to have before summer, so when I went visiting schools with my kid, I had this information. Made sense to me. So that's why we're doing it in the spring, you know, and you have this information when you're visiting schools, because I know y'all thinking, how much is this going to cost me, with all the signs flying out of your head, and your kids are going, oh my God, that's so cool. So this information will be helpful for you.
All right.
Well, and this, you might want to take this opportunity to like give your kid a hug and say, I love you at the other side of this, because there's a lot of bickering that goes on in this process. So just remind each other that you're still human, all right?
All right, again, I'm Charles Gentili. I'll be your Naviance guru for the evening. Naviance, actually, your students' class, since we received Naviance a couple years ago, should have taken almost every single inventory that we have set along our curriculum. Whether they remember it or not, whether they remember their login that they've been given 4 times or not is a different story. We've done study skills inventories, we've done interest inventories, we've also done personality interest inventories. If for some reason your child has not done it or have not finished it, this is something they can log on to at any given time. Not that they want to hang out with Naviance on a Friday night, but it is here. If they have studies, they're more than welcome to come to guidance and take some of the inventories. These inventories, how many of you students, there's a few of you, know exactly what you want to do and study when you go off to college? All right, see some hands. Parents, when you were in high school, how many of you knew what you wanted to do when you were going off, wherever you work, towards college? Okay, a few hands. Yeah, and I already had the conversation. How many of you still know what you want to do or don't want to do? But Naviance provides these inventories that students take, and it's saying, hey, based off your interest and or personality, you may want to consider going into this field as a career. They're saying based off your personality and interest, you're going to have a more satisfying outcome within this field. So it's really, really nice. As well as with the results of what career you may go into, it provides information of what exactly does that job entail. Maybe you've never heard of it. And also, of course, what many people want to know, how much money does it pay you?
And it breaks it down by every state in the nation.
Yeah, by state. So, I want to go to Florida. Well, the cost of living in Florida is very different than the cost of living in New York City. So, they break that down, which is really, really nice. As for the college piece, considering many of your students have actually taken the inventories, I'll focus on that today. I'll brief over this because I know we only have about, 10 minutes left? Yeah. When your students log on, they do not see this now because they're only juniors. Once we shift them to seniors, they will see, I like to call the to-do list. We've already met with your kids in the classroom this year. We're meeting with them one-on-one, small group later this year. We will see them in the classroom again next year. We will meet with them again one-on-one next year. But guess what? They don't always listen, they don't always remember. That's okay. I say listen, try to keep it in your back pocket, but if you forget this, your to-do list is on the front page of Naviance. So if you don't want to see me, you don't have to. A lot of times, Mr. Gentili, I don't know what to do. Okay, take a seat, log on to Naviance. Where are you in the process? Pull up where you have the question and let's look at this together. One thing I really want to impress, this is their college application. It's exciting, it's terrifying, they get very, very nervous. And my thing I always say, don't worry, it's okay. You know all the information already. Sit down and just start the process. I say, take a day off, wear your jams, get some cocoa. Just sit down and start the application process. And it's gonna be better than you think it is. It's really starting where I see the kids get worried. Once they say, Ms. Gentili, I need help, I don't get this. They literally sit down and then ask me not one question. And I think it's because they're so nervous. So it is okay. The list is here if you're like, where's Johnny or Susie on this? Hey, Johnny, pull up Naviance. Where are you on that to-do list on your homepage? And it's all here from sending SAT scores to how to apply. There's even videos of how to match things. We'll go into that. But one thing I want to share with you guys, because I think it'll be helpful for you with your students more so, is if you click the colleges tab, and I think I saw some of you in the fall at the parent meeting. I saw some of you there. If you click on this Super Match College Search, some of your students may actually know where they want to go. That's fantastic. Some of your students may have no idea. That's completely fine. What is this? That's not. This is me. I just made myself a senior today, so I don't know if it's ignoring me. Oh, here it is. All right. Well, anyways, okay. Some students may want more places to apply to. You know, oh, we've heard of Worcester State, we've heard of UMass, we've heard of URI. But did you hear of college XYZ? It's perfect for you. But it's like within your, 2.5 hour time range, driving, and it has everything you want. You go in here, you can put in your preferences. Location, okay. I don't know how fun this technology will be. It works better most times, I promise you. But you put in everything. I just want to stay in Northeast, and it will give you all of the colleges in Northeast. But you know what? I really don't want to go to Vermont. You can take that out. Or, I just want Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. You can put that in. Majors you want to study. You can put in, I want a really, really big campus, but I want to be in the suburbs. I don't want to be in the city. Or a small campus in the city. You put that in. I want them to have a band program. I want them to have...
You slow down. I don't know what all you're saying is.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you didn't. Oh.
Band.
I thought you were still figuring it out. All the pop-ups. So you can go in here, and as you start being more specific, it crunches down. You had a really great example last fall. What was the major?
So you choose major. It's not something.
Sports. Well, even just that, it matches. You'll see the preferences change. One thing, I had students doing this the other day, they're like, oh, Mr. Tilly, nothing's coming. I go, why don't you broaden those horizons for like a minute? They started putting in how much a college costs. He talked to you earlier, you have no idea what that college might cost. I said, take that out. They're like, but Mr. Tilly, I only want to spend this much. I go, absolutely, I understand that, but you never know what that final number will be. Or Mr. Tilly, I just arbitrarily put in an SAT score. I said, don't do that. That's okay, take that out. We can look at it. We can look at it through the back door in case you haven't taken your SAT yet. But you start putting in your preferences, and it will give you suggestions. See? So now, Hampshire College is matching so far, I think. 100%. Yeah, 100%. And it'll tell you why.
Why is green?
Green? Oh. So green, or why not? The location didn't match up. So this is kind of nice. If, Mr. Tilly, I have 2 college visits. Where should I go? Well, I would direct them to this. Same for you. If you're like, I want to see what other colleges are out there. I know so-and-so and so-and-so, but what else is there out there? So that's a great thing here at Naviance. But other than that, if you really want to go in, all your inventories here. Do what you are, career interest profiler, and a learning style inventories. Those are the 3 we've had students take. You can go in and have them take other ones. If students are really go-getters, they want to take it again, we can reset it. Kids actually ask me to do this. They like some of the inventories. So we've done that before. But again, it gives them examples. So looking for careers, a college search, and this is also integral to the college application process. So your students will be using this, or if you're wondering where they are, or how to help them at home. Let's say it's Thanksgiving break. All right, Johnny, let's go. Let's get on those college applications. Mom, I don't know what to do. What's that? Log on to that Naviance. Mr. Tilly said there's a to-do list there. And it's here for you, step by step. It's pretty self-explanatory. And once the kids sit down, they really do okay. So trust in that. And if anytime they feel like they're hung up, I don't know the exact answer to that question, or I just want to touch base with Mr. Goulat, Mr. Tilly, send them to us, email us, call us, we'll be there anytime. So, but that's kind of Naviance in a nutshell.
So we have about 5 minutes left. We can open it up to any questions that you may have. Because it's a lot of information. We really just wanted to get your feet wet. You're going to have tons of questions throughout this. We're accessible. If there's anything that just comes to the top of your head, no question is silly or stupid. Yes?
So what's this common app
I was
All
gonna
know
say
about
something.
applying is what I applied 30 years ago.
I hear with the typewriter, right? And they didn't even have whiteout then. So the Common App has made this process really simple. The Common App has been around for a long time. It started out as something that you had to print, handwrite, and then you could photocopy it and send it as many colleges as you want. Now it's online. You do an application one time, and you can submit that to any college that accepts the Common App, which is it's a lot of schools. So it makes it much easier, this process. In addition, this class, our juniors, for the first time, you can log into Common App today and start your Common App. In the past, you'd have to wait till August 1st. The Common App would purge the system of seniors, and then August 1st would refresh it. Now they have a toggle switch. The first question is, are you a class of 2018, 2017? And you can start your Common App today. You can fill out the easy part, what I call the Wendy's application, your name, your phone number, your address, the simple part. Because if you can come to school next year, the first day, and you have the majority of that Common App, basically the Common App done, with the exception of maybe your essay, you are ready to go. So the Common App is just a simple way of applying to school. You don't have to call the school on your rotary phone and ask them to mail you an application and hope that the one application they sent you, you don't make a mistake on. Because it's a long distance call to Keene State. And oh wait a minute, I have a party line on top of that.
Naviance will connect to the Common App, so teachers' recommendations being uploaded, we upload the transcripts, and I call it kind of the students' electronic files. So back in the day, even when I was applying, Mr. Goulet, can you send my stuff here? Can you send it here now? Can you send it here? Ooh, Mr. So-and-so, can you write my recommendation, or can I have a copy of that? I'm adding another college. It's here, it stays. And Naviance works for Common App schools and non-Common App schools. And it says down below, apply the appropriate website. So Worcester State, for example, is not a Common App school. You would apply directly at their website. But Naviance, the school will take everything that we need to send, recommendations, transcripts, school profiles, straight from Naviance. So that's even nicer for students too. So it makes it's very streamlined.
Do we need anything from you guys in order to sign on to Common App?
Your kids log
Your
in.
kids, it's their account. It's their account. So Naviance, when you log into the portal, it actually says family/student login. We don't give you a specific password, but your student's password, it should be shared. It's really a family process.
And they already have that.
Yeah.
And if you're bored and want to change careers and use their inventory to find out what you want to do in life, feel free.
I love it. I actually do.
I did it, and it said I should become a guidance counselor, so I was pretty lucky.
I'm supposed to be a funeral director, so if your kids don't like the
I don't
results,
see that.
tell them.
Sorry, I just don't see that.
No, I get it. I'm A-type. I love to be organized and plan. I want to help people, but too intense for me. Too intense for me. But I tell kids all the time, if you take it and you don't like it, it's okay. It's not a crystal ball either, but it's just a helpful tool.
Which leads me to one last thing. Most students don't know what they want to do. They're going in as undecided. So I would steer that kid to a school that's not going to be a small liberal arts school in Lewiston, Maine. Bates College is not the school for you. You want to go to a school that's going to allow you to test the waters and find your way. You're not going to do that at a small school. You're going to go to a larger school to see where you fit in the world. A lot of kids go undecided. And a lot of kids change their majors 3 or 4 times. It's okay. They're young. If you know what you want to do right away for the rest of your life, man, that's awesome. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us. You can go to our website. Is our website up there? I think it's still up. You can find us through Charges Guidance, and there's a plethora of information there. There's links to our email. If you want to scroll down real quick, the breakdowns, course selection guides that we'll talk about a little bit. There's a whole mess of information there. Links to College Board, links to SAT, links to ACT, links to the 30K program, GPA converters, a whole mess of
Naviance.
All right?
So Peter, what's next?
We're doing the program of studies and curriculum level meeting next where other parents will be joining us. So if you would like to stick around for that, please feel free to. But you don't have to, if you have other places to be. Thank you guys. I'm just going to go Anybody's out there?
You're welcome.